Welcome back to the year 1985 as we continue our look at the Transformers toy line by Hasbro. Last time, we started the second wave of Transformers by learning of the newly introduced subgroups like the Dinobots and Insecticons, and we also took a look at the Insecticon Shrapnel. This time, we'll be looking at a totally different subgroup, the Jumpstarters, which are made up of only 2 Autobots, and today we'll be taking a look at both of them. That's right, it's a double toy review as we check out the Autobot Jumpstarters Topspin and Twin Twist, here on KREED'S Collection. Hey, welcome back to another episode of KREED'S Collection. Today we're taking a look at the Autobot Jumpstarters Topspin and Twin Twist from the 1985 toy line Transformers by Hasbro. And we're not going to waste any time, so let's jump right in and take a closer look at their vehicle forms. Topspin is the form of a jet and also a boat, believe it or not. Not only can he fly with his wings and jet engines, but those silver protrusions on the front of him are pontoons which allow him to travel across the water. Topspin can travel up to 300 miles per hour in the air and up to 80 miles per hour across the water, and he has 2 high voltage electrical cannons on the end of his wings as well as 2 hand cannons. Twin Twist is the form of a drilling tank, and he has 2 6,000 RPM diamond tipped drills in the front of him, and he can travel up to 200 miles per hour. He loves to sink his drills into metal and turn them into scrap, and he'll attack almost anything from a Decepticon to a lamppost. So much so that Optimus Prime worries about his destructive urges. As we get a little closer to the Jumpstarters, you can see the guns I mentioned earlier here on Topspin, and the decals have held up okay, as well as the silver on the pontoons. It actually looks really good. But if I had to level one complaint on the Jumpstarters, it's that they look really good from all the sides, as you can see. Bottom looks nice, but if you flip it around to the top, you see the glaring flaw in that their face is right there exposed, and you see that they're just basically folded in half. What I would have done differently is basically left all of this the same, but I would have made it where when you transform them, you turn their head to face downward and you were able to flip their hands inside. And that would actually fix all my problems. Much like Topspin, Twin Twist's chrome has held up fantastically, but he has yellowed a little here on the side, unfortunately, from being in the sun on a shelf. Definitely learned my lesson about exposing toys to sunlight. These tank treads look really good, even though they're just hard plastic. I think they did a good job molding them. And here's a close-up of the drill bits just to admire how well that chrome is held up. Now here's something I really like about the Jumpstarters. You can put their gun in their hand and have it mounted to them in vehicle form. But Topspin can take it one step further. His gun can actually mount between his legs perfectly, and it will not fall out. It stays there just right. And I think it looks amazing, and it's one of the reasons why he is my favorite. Twin Twist, you just have to settle for putting the gun in his hand, which looks really good, because if you try to put it between his legs, it's not wide enough and it just kind of falls. It's a shame they didn't put a simple peg hole there to put the gun in. Now on the bottom, the Jumpstarters have these rubber wheels, and that's part of their gimmick. One way they roll freely, the other way they're a friction motor. And then here on the tips of their toes, they have little wheelie wheels as well. And the basic idea is that when you pull them back and let them go, they roll forward and then transform themselves by flipping up onto their feet. But before we do that, let's go ahead and take a look at how well they roll forward, which is, as you can see, really well, no problems whatsoever. Alright, now that we've taken a look at Topspin and Twin Twist on their vehicle forms, it's time to transform them. Which Twin Twist had no problem with, over and over and over again. He did it every time. Topspin, however, was having a little bit of performance anxiety, and sadly, he just couldn't seem to get up to his feet.
Don't feel bad, man. It could happen to anybody. Did it happen to you? Well, no, but maybe Ratchet.
Just leave me alone.
Oh, okay.
In my opinion, Topspin and Twin Twist have 2 of the best robot modes in the G1 series. Even though they're not the most posable, and we'll get into that later, I still think they have a really clean, well-designed look in their robot mode, and I even like their giant, chunky feet. But Topspin is by far my favorite of the 2, and it's probably because at the time, there weren't a lot of flying Autobots. He was one of the only ones, him and Jetfire, So it was pretty nice. Not to mention the fact he has a great face design and the wings sticking off his shoulders are kinda Decepticon-ish. I also really like the fact that he has guns on his hands. I probably already mentioned that, but I have to say it again because it's super cool, and without his rifle, he's still ready for action. And speaking of his rifle, let's go ahead and take a closer look at that. It is a twin ion impulse blaster, and the chrome on it has held up beautifully, just like the chrome on the front of his pontoons. There's not even a scratch on it. Looks amazing. I figured I'd share a quick personal story about the Jumpstarters. I didn't actually get them at the same time. I got Twin Twist first, and then I got Topspin later. I couldn't convince my parents to buy them both for me at the same time, but I was lucky enough to get them both eventually. Now, even though Topspin is my favorite of the two, I do really like Twin Twist quite a bit. His color scheme is excellent. The slightly ivory with the kind of greenish color on his chest looks really amazing. And I'm not sure if it's because he's a tank or because he has drills built into him or maybe because he doesn't have wings, but for some reason he just seems a lot stronger and stouter than Topspin to me. Twin Twist also carries a twin ion impulse blaster. Here it is. But his also apparently shoots 100-pound TNT shells, which sounds pretty devastating. And the chrome is held up just as well as Topspin's gun. Looks really good. Now we're going to take a look at the Jumpstarters' articulation. They have very little. Their arms can go up like so, and technically they can bend over, but since they're spring-loaded, they just pop back up. So really the arms is it. Arm 1, arm 2, that's it. Before we move forward, I want to look at their chunky feet a little bit. This allows them to flip forward out of their vehicle mode. It's essential to the transformation, and these wheels allow them to kind of skate forward a little bit on their toes. And on the back of their head here, they have a little switch that allows adjustments for their transformation. And I didn't have a chance to mess with Topspin, but I'm thinking just moving that switch could help him. Now, I usually don't transform them back to their vehicle mode, but I wanted to show you how it works with Jumpstarters. So here's a little clip, and that's how you actually catch the feet when you fold them over, and it makes for an insanely easy transformation. Behold, step 1 and done. Yep, that easy. Step 1 and done. The quickest transformers there are. Now I'll go ahead and take a look at the copyright date information. They're exactly the same on both of them. Takara, 1980, 1984, made in Taiwan. And now I'll take a look at the tech specs for Twin Twist and Topspin. If you notice, their pictures are actually reversed. These are misprinted, and I don't think there's any that are printed correctly because even the ones I pulled up online had the picture switched. Pretty interesting. Anyway, if you'd like to read them, pause now. And now for our He-Man size comparison. He-Man's about 1.5 inches to 2 inches taller than Topspin and Twin Twist, but he would gladly team up with them any day to take on the evil of Megatron and the Decepticons. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my toy retrospective for the Autobot Jumpstarters, Topspin and Twin Twist from the 1985 toy line, Transformers by Hasbro. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up. And if you have any thoughts, please leave a comment. I love reading and responding to them. And while you're at it, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it, and it would help my channel grow. I do a retrospective on a toy from my vintage collection every Wednesday, so I hope to see you next week and every week after, here on KREED'S Collection.